which is number 3 in our Coffee with the Experts Zero Trust series. Today we're going to be focusing on driving efficiency with the Fortinet Security Fabric. My name is Paul Sexton and I'm the Cybersecurity Sales Specialist here at HCS. I'm joined on the call with the head of our Cybersecurity Solutions, who's John White.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, John. We've got a chat box open, so if you have any questions, please feel free to enter your questions in the chat box. It's moderated, so only we will see your questions and we will get to answer them at the end. So today's agenda, so we're going to look at the current challenge around inefficiencies around networking and security. We're going to look at what's causing the inefficiencies and also have a look at what's coming down the line that you need to keep an eye on. We'll also look at Fortinet's approach to solving these problems and why they're one of the only vendors out there that can actually solve a multitude of these issues. We'll then look at a quick demonstration from John, so you can see for yourself how it all works and how it all clicks together. So looking at the current landscape around network and security inefficiency. So, some of the common problems are there's too many siloed products / vendors in companies. So organizations today have too many products from too many vendors. There's a couple of knock-on effects to this. It creates alert fatigue, a lot of confusion at times, and the overlap. The solution stack should be under constant review, okay, to ensure that you've got the best of breed products for your purpose and that they're performing optimally. Is there a better product on the market, or is there one that can do your job, do the job for you better, or do it less expensive? At times, and in a lot of cases, there's a lack of visibility. Can you honestly say that you have visibility into all parts of your network? With ease as well. How easy is it to have a bird's eye view of what's happening? Are there any blind spots that you're missing out on? So this is a big one. In a lot of organizations, we see that you've got a security versus networking mentality, right? Do you accept risk, right? How much risk do you accept? Is it a case of you're accepting risk in order to increase productivity? Are your employees aware of the risks and are you mitigating them as best you can? And does it actually need to be security versus networking, or is there a happy medium? And as well, look, there's a lack of time and resources. I'm sure everyone on this call knows that, although it's changing IT because it's not a revenue source or revenue generating part of a business. So often the IT function is understaffed and overworked. We're starting to see a change in this, actually. Companies are starting to promote their IT, and especially around privacy, as a core competency, but we're still a long way from everyone on this call getting the recognition that you deserve. So as a result of those inefficiencies, you're seeing, by compromising with security versus networking, you're ending up in a gray area. So you're not 100% secure, and you're also not as efficient as you could be. So, we've got, and as a result of that, you're seeing a rise in cyber attacks, ransomware in particular. Cyber attacks. They're among the fastest growing form of crime worldwide. They're also growing in scale, in cost, and sophistication. In 2021 alone, ransomware cost the world 20 billion. It's 57 times more than that amount just 6 years ago in 2015. And just research is shown as well that number of 20 billion is set to rise to 265 billion by 2031. So in 9 years' time, it's going to increase 13 times over, which is just astronomical figures. And the reason for that growth is because it's successful, right? And as soon as bad actors out there can see that there's an avenue to making money, they're going to try to exploit it any way they can. Out of all ransomware victims, only 32% paid a ransom, but they only get 65% of their data back, and only 57% of businesses are successful in recovering their data using a backup. So the chances are, if you're hit with a successful ransomware attack, you're not going to you might have to pay a ransom, which is going to cost you money. B, you mightn't get all your data back. And if you're relying on your backups, only 50% of businesses were successful in recovering that data from a backup. So you really have to ask yourself the question: what does a ransomware attack mean to us, and what does it mean if we can't get our data back? All right, what are the implications of that? So why am I talking about ransomware? Phishing is still the easiest and most common attack vector for ransomware infection. With network security inefficiencies like too many products, vendors, etc., there is going to be human error. A configuration change, a click on the wrong link, and all of a sudden you have a major issue on your hands. And that's another stat there, which kind of blew my mind, that every 11 seconds there's a company that suffers a ransomware attack. But what if you didn't have to compromise security for network performance? What if you could reduce the number of vendors you use and provide the right level of security to increase the productivity of your employees at the same time? And that's what Fortinet offers. So this is the Fortinet approach. And this is, again, what John's going to be showing in the demonstration in a couple of minutes. A single pane of glass. So this term has been around since I actually started my career back in like 2008. And even though it was only a short time ago, to me, a lot of things, there was a lot less things for IT managers to worry about. The reason us here at HCS partner with Fortinet is because they can offer this single pane of glass. They have different products available for companies of all sizes, whether you're SMB or your enterprise. Fortinet will have a product set which is right for your size and offer you that single pane of glass in order to give you that network and security efficiency. So is it network it is network performance with security built into the product. So because Fortinet builds all of their own hardware and software themselves, security is at the absolute forefront of everything they do. All Fortinet products integrate smartly, right? And that term smartly is key there. It's not just integration for the sake of it. They ask themselves, why would that integration make sense before they do anything? And it all reports back into the same operating system called FortiOS, which is their operating system, which they use to actually manage everything that they provide. And end-to-end visibility and control. So not only are you able to see everything that's going on, but you're also able to control it from the single pane of glass. So for example, you have users at a remote site or your headquarters complaining about bandwidth issues. With the click of a button, you're able to throttle the YouTube or Netflix or social media access and reduce the use of those applications down, and you're able to do it all again from the single pane of glass. And there's one throat to choke. So that's a common thing in our industry is if you've got multiple vendors, then you've got multiple vendors playing a blame game, and there's a severe lack of accountability. When something goes wrong, you want to have an expert on your side. With Fortinet, it's one vendor, so you have one number to call when things aren't working like they should. So I pulled this diagram down just to give you an example of, the diagram on the left. So Gartner are one of the world's most prominent analysts when it comes to all things IT. In 2021, they released what really can only be described as a monstrosity of a diagram on the left-hand side. It's basically what you need to stay secure in 2022, plus what products should talk to each other in order to give you that level of efficiency around security and networking. Imagine having a different vendor for each of the areas on the left-hand side. It would be an absolute nightmare. On the right, you can see Fortinet's mesh. Okay, so the one on the left is a cybersecurity mesh designed by Gartner. On the right is Fortinet's mesh. I think they actually released the Fortinet diagram before the Gartner one came out, and they're basically the same thing. You can incorporate all of the arrows and product silos on the left hand side by what's happening on the right. It's all incorporated into the Fortinet fabric. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it's secure. You can protect and optimize the network and keep your assets and employees secure, all from the one vendor. So now I'm going to pass things over to John, and he's going to take you through just a demonstration of what I've been talking, some of the things that I've been talking about. And I'd like you just to pay attention to the ease at which John can actually, gain deep insights and visibility to what's happening on the network, all from the one screen. Okay, so John, I'll stop sharing there, and if you want to start
Okay,
sharing.
thanks, Paul. Yeah, thanks for
No
that,
problem.
Paul. I'm just going to pop it up there now. Share. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, good. This is the initial landing page. So I've just logged in here to my core firewall within my fabric, as Fortinet love calling it. And basically, it brings me straight away to this status page. Now, on this status page, I can add or remove any of these views to give me an overall picture of exactly what is on my network. So here I get standard system information, shows me the host name, the WAN IP address, the number of days, hours, minutes the system has been up. Here I get my licenses, but over here is the fabric part of it. Here it's showing me immediately everything that's connected. So I can see here my two firewalls, one in Waterford, one in Dublin. I can see switches, and I can even see the access point off of the switch. On any of these devices, if I hover over them, I get a drop-up box. Within that box, I can click on diagnostics and tools, and that will immediately bring me to the page for that device. So here I can see the ports that are currently active. These are ports powering devices. I can see here by the power that's being delivered over the PoE, and I can see what VLANs are active on these ports. I can also look at the logs for this device from here. Good, there's no logs. Or I can be old-fashioned and log into the command line interface for that device. I can also see up here a summary of it. So the general health of this device is good. It's giving me the CPU usage, the memory usage, connection uptime, the temperature on it, and the PoE amount remaining on it. I can also click on the faceplate, and it will actually show me the actual ports that are connected onto it. I can also edit it, but I can also do other actions. So I can deauthorize it. If I have an engineer on site and he's looking at 10 or 12 different switches and he says, which one do I need to look at? I can start the actual LEDs on that switch to blink. So it'd be very easy to pick out the switch that we need to work on. All that, again, I'm doing this all from a single page. Here I can see my CPU load on my firewall. I can see my memory load. And down here, I can even see my bandwidth that's going in and out through my two WAN connections on this firewall. I can also see who's connected by my Forti clients, and I can see who's on my VPN at the moment. So I can see there's two people connected, and that they're both on and live, and this is the amount of traffic that they're generating. I can also see FortiGate is, after scanning today, nearly 500,000 files, and it's broken them down into the various categories. So I would immediately get an alert here to say there was a malicious file tried to enter the system, or it's after FortiGuard services are after preventing an outbreak within my network. So again, all this is from this single view. Now I can go further down. If I click down here, I can, for instance, go into my security fabric. And my security fabric, if I click on physical topology, this will show me the physical layout of our systems within the network. Just it takes a few seconds because it scans the network to make sure it's an up-to-date view it's given me. And here I can see there's the firewall in Waterford. There's the downlink to the Dublin firewall. Off of that, I have the PoE switch in Dublin, which there is an access point. And again, if I hover over any of these, I get the drop down so that I can go into the diagnostics and tools for that device. So all this, I haven't logged into any other system, software, anything. I'm doing all this from one interface. And this also shows me my two WAN connections that are on the firewall here in Waterford. And again, if I hover over that, it will show me that they're set up in an SD-WAN. If I hover over it again, it gives me a summary of the CPU usage, the memory usage, and the session count. And I can also click on configure, and that will allow me immediately go in to start configuring that firewall. I also have another very important thing here, which is my Fabric connectors. This is the bit that allows all the parts of the Fortinet infrastructure to talk to each other. So I can see here, there's my Security Fabric. It's logging events up to FortiAnalyzer Cloud. It's also talking to an EMS server, which is managing clients out and about on laptops and remote workstations. We also have a cloud sandbox, and that cloud sandbox is automatically linked to any alerts or any files that come in via our firewalls or within our client EMS. And we also can manage all our systems from a central FortiCloud. So I can see that all that is up and running from the one view. I can also view my security rating. This will allow me to give me industry validated ratings across my security network. So I have a security posture, I have my Fabric coverage, and I have my optimization. So if, for instance, I click on my Fabric coverage, it will open up and it will tell me I have failed 26. So I can look at those and I can highlight them, and it will tell me over here what's wrong and what I need to do to fix it. So again, very important. I can also base that not only on Fortinet ratings, but I can change it to PCI ratings. And that will allow me the same thing to view it and tell me what I have to do to get my PCI rating up. All this, again, I haven't went to any other tool or anything. I'm working from one individual interface. Up here then, once I know my users and everything, I can now look at my access points. This is my Wi-Fi network. It shows me the two access points connected onto the firewall I'm on, shows me they're online, shows me the SSIDs that they're broadcasting, and it shows me their OS version. Not only that, but it shows me the port that they're connected onto on the switch. So I know they're on the Waterford office 48 port PoE switch, and it's connected into port 42. And the other one is connected into port 41. I can also look at my Wi-Fi clients here, which will give me a look of which AP, the MAC address, the IP address they've been given, the 40 AP that they're connected onto, and which network they're connected onto. So again, if I hover over any of these, for instance, there, it shows me what type of tunnel it is, and this shows me how the actual radios are broadcasting. So I can see I have channel utilization of 1% here, and I have 22% here. And again, I can click on diagnostics and tools, and that will automatically bring me into the AP's diagnostics. So I can view the clients, I can and that'll show me the clients connected onto that. I can look at VLANs, I can look at my Wi-Fi map if I have one, and I can see if there's anything interfering with my SSIDs. I don't have to send anyone out to site. It's all there built into this interface and the software on the APs. I can also manage my switches from here. So I can collect into my FortiSwitch ports, and this will actually show me the ports that are active up, or a port that's down, if there's nothing connected to it. If I wanted to add a VLAN onto this port, all I have to do is click the little button here, select the VLAN that I want to add on. So I could say, that one's okay. Say apply. And now that VLAN is on that port. For anybody that's done this before, I haven't had to log into any switches. There's no command line interface to run or do. All I have to do is click on the port and drop the VLAN in. If I want to create a new VLAN, all I have to do is go to FortiSwitch VLANs, say create new, fill in the details for the VLAN, giving it a VLAN ID, and that's it live. And then apply that, say okay to that once I have it filled in, and then that will appear in my Fortinet VLAN list, and I can apply any of those VLANs to any interface that I want to apply them to. I can also, if I'm looking at my FortiSwitch ports here, I can actually change the view on it to show faceplates, and that will show me the ports that are currently active on the system here. Again, I'm doing all this from the one interface. Not only that, but on my PoE switch, I can see the total power that is providing at the moment and the amount of power that I still have that I can apply. I think that's it, Paul. If I hand back to you there now, Paul, if there's...
Yeah, that's great, John.
Yeah, I'll
Thanks
just end my sharing there, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, thanks, John. So yeah,
No
look,
problem.
I think from within 10 minutes there, you can see the amount of information that John was able to get just from one screen. It's quite incredible, right? If you were to go out and actually look at getting that level of information from different vendors, you can only imagine the amount of products that you would actually you would need to own from multiple different vendors in order to get the same level of in-depth knowledge about what's going on from not only a network point of view, what's happening across the network, why is it running slow, can we make it faster, but also from a security point of view, when you're looking at your security fabric rating, how can we improve security, and what's the current state of play? It's powerful stuff. So just to finish up on our end, at HCS we are a Fortinet expert, right? We're Fortinet Advanced partners. We're one of only two in Ireland. As we've said already, they're a leader in Gartner Magic Quadrants for multiple different areas. We're also a Microsoft Gold partner as well. So there's times where both product sets need to play with each other because everyone still has Microsoft, and that works nicely as well because both companies do work together, which is nice. And in summary, security and network efficiency is a dynamic objective. Okay, so it's constantly changing year on year, and you need to stay up to speed and up to breadth of what's happening in the industry. There might be products out there that can work better than the current set of products that you have, and give you more information at a less cost. You can, with Fortinet, you can improve cybersecurity, network efficiency, and often reduce costs because we're talking about that overlap that I spoke about earlier. You might have three different products, looking at three different areas of your network and security, but there might be a lot of overlap there where you might be able to remove two of those products, or even all three, and just use one Fortinet product to give you that level of visibility, and customization. You can simplify deployment and control. So I think John's demonstration speaks for itself when you're able to actually control everything that's happening there. And again, HCS, we're Fortinet experts. So if you do have any questions about anything that we went through today, please feel free to go onto our website or drop me an email, or John, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Which brings us nicely to the last part here, where there's been one or two questions that have come in, and I'll just run through them now if that's okay. So in relation to the switches, what type of switches do you need for the fabric? John, you want to take that one?
Yeah, basically it's the Fortinet switches, the 40 switches as they're called. They come in various sizes from an 8 port all the way up to a 48 port with various SFP plus and SFP modules on them. That's what's managed because they run FortiOS, which is the secure operating system that's required to control NAC access into your network and to allow it to connect directly into the fabric. So.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay.
And there's one other question. What products do you need to get started with the fabric? Okay, I can take this one. So Fortinet is modular based, right? So a lot of times we probably recommend to start with a FortiGate, which is the firewall, and then any other product that you want to get, whether it's switches or access points or something endpoint management systems, like FortiClient, they're all add-ons, right? So not add-ons, they're separate products in themselves, but they're modular based, so you can add them to your Fortinet deployment. You can still manage it all from the screen that John showed you. Now, a lot of times we're called in from HCS point of view, where we go into customers and they basically lay out the challenges that they have, and then we will look at the challenges that they have and then prescribe a product set that are going to meet those challenges, and then we will build out a roadmap. Maybe it's 1 to 6 months or a year of what a deployment is going to look like over that time, and tick off the challenges that that company has. So, a lot of times Fortinet are fantastic and they've got great products. Where we come in at HCS is that advisory, trusted expert type consultancy that you might not get from the vendor themselves, but it's better coming from a partner, because we can sit down with you and actually work through your roadmap with you and prescribe a solution set that's going to meet your objectives. So long answer short is, what products do you need to get started with Fabric? Maybe start with a FortiGate. Yeah, start with a FortiGate, and then look at the challenges that you have and prioritize them, and then we can work through that with you and say what solutions are going to work best, and how to roll them out in a roadmap. So that's all the questions. So if there's no more, then thanks very much for your time this morning. I hope you got some information around Fortinet and HCS. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at HCS, and we'll be happy to answer them. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.